Hey guys, it's Shannon. Next month marks 10 years from the time I started learning Arabic back in Dubai. It was the group intensive 8 to 10 a.m. at Eton Institute with a teacher named Raef. Raef. In English we spelled it R-A-E-F, but it's Ra. Okay. Anyway, Raef was so good that I continued with him for my whole Fusha education, so all the modern standard Arabic through the Al-Kitab books for all three of them. And I had the opportunity to catch up with him over Zoom a couple weeks ago. So we talk about tips for Arabic learners, what are some qualities of a good Arabic teacher, what are some of the hardest things about teaching Arabic, best advice, stuff like that. Check it out.
رائف ايه
الحمد لله. كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله زمان عنك والله.
والله من زمان. شو الأخبار؟
ايه تمام.
الحمد لله كله تمام. شو أخبارك؟
رجعت أمريكا من كم سنة.
أيوة قلتي لي من زمان.
Okay, I don't know if we want to do this in Arabic or English.
Okay.
I mean, we can. I've never heard you speak more than a few words in English because we've always been speaking Arabic. But I don't know if like the people watching it are going to be speaking mostly English.
Yeah.
You were with Eton from, like, I know like 10 years ago when I was in Dubai. But like, so how long have you been? You switched, right? You did your own thing.
I was at Eton for. I have been working in Eton for 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I moved to school in 2014.
Okay.
After I spent 6 years in Eton, so it was like big change or a switch from teaching adults to kids. So I teach mainly like secondary, high school.
Okay.
So like 14 years, 15, 18 years. We focus on 4 skills: writing, reading, listening, and speaking, Same like the method of Eton, but Eton also we used to teach like a lot of grammar and syntax, It was different. Yeah. So it's completely different.
Do you teach them the stories Nawadir Joha?
No. Only was for you.
Right. Well, that was because was there one of the stories of Joha in Al-Kitab?
Yeah, and the second Al-Kitab part 2. Al-Kitab
Yeah,
2.
and then I got inspired and I bought a book when I was in Saudi Arabia. I bought this book called Nawadir Joha.
You brought it for me, I remember.
And I bought I got Eton to do a special class just for us about Joha.
Yeah, and Alf Leila wa Leila, if you remember.
Yeah.
Alf
Oh,
Leila,
yeah.
1000 Night and Night.
I mean, I met you like about 10 years ago, almost exactly 10 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Remember, it was October 2011, my first Arabic class.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And there were like 25 students or something. There was a big one. It was the 8 to 10 a.m. intensive. And it was like the level for total beginner. So this was like before Al-Kitab. Like Eton had their own, like, it was like Alif Ba, like, but it was like the Eton's own manhaj. Remember they had that little booklet or something?
They have their own book, yeah.
The materials. And I was like a month or two of that. But then I remember like people dropped out. Remember?
Yeah. It's normal,
Al-Kitab with Maha, that was upstairs in a different classroom. So it was like maybe a second or third month. And there were maybe 5 or 6 people in the class. Yeah, so there was that class. It was like maybe 5 or 6. And then after that, I remember it was just me and this girl named Sabiha, who I'm still friends with on Facebook.
Yeah. There was like semi-private, you and her, right?
Yeah, the two of us, because everybody else had dropped out.
Yeah. The students, they lose their motivation after the first class or second class,
Why do you think most of them dropped out? You think it was because they just got...
Because I believe the students, they come for the first time, for like beginner, they think or they believe, we can speak Arabic after like 1 month or 2 months fluently, But when they come to the class, they find no, the reality. You need to continue for like 1 year or 2 years. You have to finish Al-Kitab 1, Al-Kitab 2, and so on to be any advanced or fluent in Arabic. Not only like 1 month or 2 months. So they got shocked, So they drop. That's why, So, and then you teach like because in the beginner you teach like basics, greetings, like alphabet. If you go to like elementary, you teach grammar, conjugation, verbal sentence, nominal sentence, and especially when you move to Al-Kitab, Al-Kitab Maha, because a lot of vocabulary. Because as a student, if you don't study, especially vocabulary, you will never, because you know, Maha stories based on each other. If you don't know the vocabulary from lesson number 1 or 2, whatever, you cannot continue because all vocabulary or kalimat related to each other, you know. So the students, they don't spend much time. You know, you can't tell us your method or way of learning vocabulary, you know, when you remember when you have like pages and you write down vocabulary, you know, and you next. So because all of the students ask me, how can I remember all these vocabulary? You know what I mean? It's like Maha when she travels to Egypt, how can I remember all these names?
We used Al-Kitab version 2.
Yes.
Second edition.
Yeah. Second edition.
But now, apparently, the new Al-Kitab books, they have Shami dialect.
Yeah, they added a new dialect, Sami, not only Egyptians. Yes. The issue with the new one is okay, but like you have to buy also for the website. For the website is only lasted for 1 year from Georgetown University. I mean the audio or the videos of Al-Kitab is online. There's no CD, sorry, no DVD.
Okay, well that makes sense.
No, but you have to every year you have to renew.
Oh, like a subscription.
Subscription. Otherwise, yeah. So it was issue for the student, not for me, because a little bit was expensive.
Oh, wow.
You know, okay, but it was good because they added also colors. It was colorful pages and all this one, not like the old one.
Yeah, it was black and white.
And they made it also shorter. You know, it was like Al-Kitab 1. If you remember, 20 lessons, right?
Something like that.
Old edition. But second new edition, I think only 13 lessons, but it's better than the old one, of course. Yes.
What do you think about that? Because when we went through Al-Kitab, we skipped over the dialect. We just did the Fusha. We didn't do the Egyptian.
Because it was like an institute policy, you know, we should not teach Al-Amrekeeya, the slang, whatever, it was Egyptian slang. But only we teach only the student he or she asks for, like as a private class, you know what I mean? But we should not teach Al-Amrekeeya if the student he or she needs. You know,
okay.
Specific dialect, but also you cannot, as you know, you cannot learn Al-Amrekeeya unless if you know Al-Fusha first.
That's what I believe. Think.
From Al-Fusha you can move or you can switch to Al-Amrekeeya, but you cannot switch or move from Al-Amrekeeya to Fusha. It will be like
it's a lot harder, huh?
Yeah, it's difficult. You know, you have to learn the proper Arabic first, then you move to Al-Amrekeeya.
Yeah, when you know the Fusha, because you know like the jadr for the words, and you can like then when you learn like okay, in certain countries or dialects, like they don't pronounce this like it makes it so much. It makes sense, you know,
the structure
because you learn like the rules, right?
Yeah.
I feel like like when you just learn the slang, like you just learn the Amrekeeya for a dialect, and you're only learning speaking and like listening and speaking, it's a lot harder because if you meet somebody who doesn't speak that dialect, then you're just like everything goes out the window because you don't know what they're saying. When did you start teaching Arabic, or when did you get interested in teaching Arabic?
Actually, when I came to Dubai in 2004, you know, I was looking for a job at that time, so I have seen advertisement in actually it was Arabic newspaper, not English. They were looking for teacher to teach Arabic for non-Arab for only 2 months. The teacher over there, he was Lebanese actually. He wanted to take vacation for 2 months. And actually, at the time I had no experience, like zero experience, you know. So I went over there. He interviewed me, the owner of the institute. It was Indira, and the Lebanese teacher, and he told me, okay, you will take over for 2 months, but before you start, you have to come for 1 week every day, from 8 o'clock in the morning until 10 p.m. You have classes until the whole day. Yes, just sit at the back. You just to see and watch me. Yes, I remember. So thanks. The most credit goes to this institute and this teacher. I got experience from him, how to deal with a student, how to teach everything, you know. So I learned from this Lebanese teacher. I just was watching over there, and they use also different like books, you know, written by some teachers here in Dubai. So it was not good book, but also I learned the technique how to teach non-Arab. You know, it's not easy to teach someone a language who are they not native speakers, you know, and different culture, you know, because Arabic you know, Arabic, how. So I was working there for 2 months. Then they hired me for full-time job because the teacher over Lebanese, he left.
Oh, okay.
Then I went to Oman for, I think, a visit on vacation, and I met the marketing manager over there from Eton. Then he told me, what are you doing, blah, 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 blah. Then they called me. Then my journey started with Eton in 2008 after I started with this institute in Dera.
So when you went to Dera though, so what made you come to Dubai? Like you were just like looking for like a different job, or you wanted to get Egypt?
But actually I when I came to Dubai from Egypt, when I was in Egypt, I don't want to teach. Actually, I don't like because I don't like teaching, especially because for me teaching is a school. You know what I mean? Not like teaching institute or university or different. You know what I mean? So I wanted to work in like tourism, hotel and tourism, and travel like Murshid, you know, tour guide.
Yeah, Murshid, yeah.
So I couldn't find this, this job. So I had no option at that time. So I worked as teacher for non-Arab. But alhamdulillah, I found it very interesting to teach Arabic for non-Arab, but not for in the schools, you know, in the institutes. You know, it's different.
Was your major, your degree in college, was it in Arabic?
Yeah, it was translation, actually, translation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, translating, mainly to translate from Arabic to English, English to Arabic, you know.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
This helped me out to teach Arab.
Did you go to University of Cairo?
Yeah, that's called Al-Azhar University. It's like Islam. Have you heard of it? It's Islamic University.
Oh, okay.
Al-Azhar University.
Looking back on your kind of journey as a teacher, I'm wondering if you can tell us what are some of the best skills or traits that a successful Arabic student would have?
As a teacher, we should teach like the four skills: writing, reading, listening, and speaking. So I find that the most important to focus on speaking, because I think writing is not difficult. You know, when you know the technique of how to join the letters and if you're able to write down, automatically you'll be able also to read. But the most important to speak. You know, and so here you need vocabulary, as much vocabulary as you know, as much you can speak. So the good student, and who studies hard, or he spend time, has motivation, and just write down vocabulary again, or he write down sentences out of this vocabulary, or he write down short stories out of this vocabulary. So the most important is vocabulary, or he or she watching like Arabic movies or listening to the news in Arabic. You know what I mean? And also, a good student should not depend on the class. He or she should work out of the class, doing something extra by himself, you know? So like spend a lot of time and, much time, to revise all vocabulary and all these stuff. I don't know, you are interviewing me, but you can't tell, you have mentioned this maybe before, but tell us how because the students, they find it difficult. Like I have a student now, he's finding it difficult to remember all vocabulary. Can you tell us how can the student should remember or memorize?
Yeah, memorizing words. For me, I talked about that in that remember we did that video in like 2013, and we filmed it at Eton.
Yeah.
Remember, I talk about like this strategy that I use is like I write them all the words down. Like I would write on one side the English and then one side the Arabic. Yeah, so I would so every time I had a new chapter, I had more homework. So we'd have the wajib, and then if there was a new chapter, mustalahat jadida, then I would use like notebook papers, and I would write the English and then the Arabic. I cover the English. I would shoot al-Arabi hina. And then I see the Arabi, and then I have to write bil-Ingleziya, what's the word? So it's like to test myself. And then if I get everything sahih, okay, good. Then I open it again, and then so here's the English, here's the Arabic. Then I cover the Arabi, and then I have the English, and so I write the Arabic word. So it's just like practicing like repetition. And if there's any words, I make any ghalat, then I will do it again. I use the same word to practice. So it's like a lot of repetition. That's one thing that helped me a lot.
But you used to also to work by yourself also outside the class, like watching movies or news, or you have Arab colleagues used to practice Arabic with them also?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I worked in NBC, so a lot of people speaking Arabic, you know, but different lahjats, you know, I speak Egyptians,
Yeah.
Lebanese, you have like
Yeah.
people speaking Khaliji Arabic, and so you hear all the different dialects, and so
But do you think, sorry, this is very important question, سؤال, because I always feel, do you feel there's a big gap or big difference between the Fusha formal Arabic, I don't want to say classical, formal MSA and the slang, or still?
I think it depends on what dialect. Maybe I feel like when I was learning Khaliji, I think it was easier than like Egyptian, because I feel like because the qaf becomes a ga. So like galam, so like you don't have to like leave it out. Like in Shami too, they say but ulak, like they don't pronounce the qaf. Whereas for me, I like to pronounce the qaf as a ga because it's easier for me. Like it's like I don't have to erase any letters in my mind. I just like, okay, I'm pronouncing it as a ga. Like it's easier for me.
But have you noticed that my pronunciation Arabic different from Egyptians, like from Cairo, Alexandria, or? Because for me, you said like qalam now. In Egypt, they say alam, right? Alam.
Alam, right? Or so to say, yeah, pen, right? Like
But
alam,
for me, I never say alam, but I say galam. Because I'm from
galam?
South, I am from South Egypt. Our dialect, our accent is different from Cairo.
After I had lessons with you, I was learning the Hijazi. And some words she said they say in Egypt too, like Bambi, yani pink. Bambi.
Yeah, especially in Cairo.
And like certain things like Belikin to mean like mumkin. Belikin, something like this.
And shu means like like shu ismak
ish. Well, we say ish still in
ish in Saudi.
Ish, yeah. So اسمك A.
Yeah, like Maha و Khalid. لا, you still remember you can't speak now like before, like.
اي نعم. اتكلم سعودي اكثر. ما انا الفصحى عندي ضعيفة بالنسبة لي. نسيت والله احس ما ادري. ممكن اقدر انا فاهمة بس اتكلم سعودي اكثر وزي العربي البيضاء شيء زي كذا.
But the formal Arabic.
Yeah, like I feel like the Fusha didn't go out the window. I still use it. Like and because Fusha was like my foundation.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. You like the language because you spend a lot of time studying hard and right.
Oh yeah.
I remember in the office, before you go to office in the morning, you told me, or when you have break, right? Yeah, not only in the class.
Oh yeah, well before work I would we have the class because but then I would do my wajib sometime, like anytime I have free time at work.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of gave me something to work toward. Like it gave me goals, and because I felt like there were some times where I felt like I was like, I'm in a foreign country, like working as an expat. I don't know how long I'm gonna be. Like, you know, it's like you don't know. But learning Arabic kind of gave me a sense of purpose. Also because it was a Saudi company, and so you have that like.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so it's like if you could understand, and you know what was the best gratification? Do you remember? I can't remember if it was with you or somebody. After I left NBC, it was in 2014. I saw the CEO, the British guy, the expat, who was the CEO, who was British. I saw that he started taking Arabic lessons at Eton, and he told when I saw him, I was like, oh, he goes, yeah, I'm taking Arabic lessons. Like you inspired me. And that made me feel really good because here's somebody who probably made like 10 times my salary. And he saw that like I was able to learn Arabic because he would go to like, they would have like the board meetings with the, like, you know, because the Sahib NBC is Saudi, I think Sheikh Walid something. And so in the meetings, like they'd be, هو يتكلم عربي مع أصحابه وكذا وCEO هو بريطاني ما يفهم عربي. And so it's got to be super awkward because in the US, I don't think they'd ever hire a CEO who didn't speak the language. Also, some of the managers started learning Arabic too. Because I feel like in a lot of people's jobs, like they feel like it's going to be routine. Like every 6 months you do the budget or every you do this and you do the P&L. But like learning a new skill, like a language, especially Arabic, it kind of gives you that kind of something to work towards. So we talked about qualities of a good student. What do you think are the qualities of a good Arabic teacher?
Well, it comes from experience, you know. I mean, So when you teach like different students, different nationalities, different culture, you know, you should know like each student from and his culture, what he or she needs. You know what I mean? And the good teacher, he should not focus on one skill. He should focus on the 4 skills, you know, writing, reading, listening, and also mainly speaking. Because everyone comes to the Arabic class, I think he or she needs to, they want to speak, right? For communication, for business, for family, if someone gets married to, you know, like British or American or vice versa, like this one. So for communication, so the most important, I think, focus on communication, speaking. But after teaching writing, reading, and listening, and also you should teach grammar, because some teachers they skip grammar. You know, like the structure is very important. Because you know grammar in Arabic and English is different. You know have verbal sentence and nominal sentence and structure, and male, masculine, and feminine adjective is different. You know what I mean? And conjugation, because in English you don't have conjugation. So that verbs, you know how to change the verb present or past tense according to subject pronoun he or she or I. So a teacher also should focus on grammar, you know what I mean? And also he should give the opportunity to the students in the class to speak. You know what I mean? In the class with each other and all this stuff.
What do you think is the hardest thing to teach in Arabic?
Grammar, you know, I think grammar. Because our grammar in Arabic is different from, especially if you teach like, you know, someone, you know, what was the most difficult for me as a teacher? When I teach someone who knows only one language. Like English, Chinese, you know what I mean? But if someone, he or she knows more than one languages, like Arabic, French, Spanish, German, it's easier for me because he can he can compare between Arabic and other languages, you know? But if he, like for example, he or she speaks only English, it's difficult for me, you know what I mean? Because he never knew any other language, you know? And the grammar it's difficult, you know, the structure. And it's very completely different from English. You know, when you, the agreement, you know, like, I don't know if you remember, you know, like adjective male has to agree with the subject and feminine. But if we talk like about a human object, like non-objects, also should be feminine. Like مثلا kursi is male, so adjective should be feminine. The adjective should be masculine. But if we talk about karasi chairs,
feminine.
Why? لماذا? Because objects. So it's for students non-Arab. It's difficult, you know, to adopt this idea or to, you know, to agree with this.
Yeah, that's true. Because like the plural of a noun is feminine.
Or yes, exactly. So
usually, yeah.
Yeah. So if someone, he knows more than one language, it will be easier for me as a teacher to teach him. I think I know you know also Spanish, right?
I did, but I did some Spanish before I learned Arabic. So we did have the gender, like the gender nouns, I think. The ra.
Yeah, masculine and feminine, you know. So the grammar is, I think, the most difficult and structure of the sentence. You know, like for me, the easiest part is, if you were going to ask me this, writing. Writing is very easy because I remember I taught one student in 1 hour how to write down. I remember.
How to write Arabic?
Yeah, in 1 hour. He knew alphabet, but he used to write down Arabic in English translation, in English letters, you know. But when he came to my class, I told him this was difficult. Even for me, I can't read, you know, if it's a word in Arabic written in English letter translation. So I taught him how to connect, you know, the way, the technique of connect, easy, you know. Even I know that you learn by yourself how to write down. When you came to Eton, I remember you told me I knew already how can I join or connect the letters.
Oh, wait, yes. I knew?
Yes, I remember he told me you bought like book for how to write Arabic or how to join the letters. Yeah, that's why I started immediately with you, like Al-Kitab, because Al-Kitab, if you know how to read or write, you can't start with Al-Kitab. Otherwise, it's difficult. to start because in Kitab in Arabic there's no English square. Yes,
That's that's why we did the like in the beginner class, the intensive. Like that was where we learned the letters.
Yeah, how
and
to
like
connect
how
and
to
do it.
connect, or maybe like the basics.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was in that big group class.
Yes, it's the easiest part, how to write down, how to join, to connect. Then reading also is not difficult. Maybe in the beginning it's difficult, but after you get used to letters, you can read easily. You know, apart from vowels and fatha, kasra, dhamma, all these stuff. You know.
Cool. Well, what's like the number one thing you want students to, like people who are thinking about learning Arabic, like what's the number one tip you have for a student?
Like for beginner, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the Arabic is very easy and it's not difficult. Arabic is logic. I remember if the student is good at math, he will be very good at, especially in syntax, in root grammar, the root system, you know, because I know that you'll never find any language like Arabic in terms of root system, you know, the connection between the words. And so if you look at kataba, from kataba, you can make like yaktub, maktab, kitab, katib, and blah, 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 blah. Same like madrasa, mudarris, dirasa, you know this one. This is the most, it makes it easy. So I always tell them, the students from the first time, about the root system. So they fell in love with the language. Oh, how it's very easy. It makes sense, you know, blah, blah, blah. This one, khalas. So if you teach them this is the key word, this is the magic for the first class, khalas. Otherwise, it will be difficult. Let's make it easy for them. Because they compare about, like, if you look at English, like English, you have like, a teacher, right? Teacher, mudarris. School is different. Teacher and school, it doesn't make sense, right? At all. But in Arabic, you have mudarris and madrasa, right? Same. So it makes sense, the language, no, not like English. You know, English, for me, I am sorry, it's not logic, you know, but you
It's
have
not
to.
logical. Yeah, exactly. I agree
Yeah,
with you.
but you have to remember by yourself. Even for the students, they told you, oh, we have jam'a taksir, broken plural. No, we have also system for, you know, the patterns, you know. But in English also you have children. It doesn't make sense, you know. Like man, men, woman, مش عارف, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No information, has no, all this, you know. But in Arabic, no, we have, even for broken, we have also, we have rule, we have, you know, the pattern, you know. It makes sense. It's logic, it's logic, you know.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah.
And it's been such a pleasure to catch up with you after all these years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm very سعيد to see you again. I'm very, very happy. And hopefully, inshallah, we can meet again, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much.
Inshallah. شكرا.